On September 13, 2014, 18-year-old Hannah Graham disappears after a party in Charlottesville. What initially appears to be an ordinary missing persons case leads investigators to numerous murders, missing persons cases, and other gruesome crimes within Virginia. Unfortunately, some of these cases have never led to a viable lead or suspect. But through their overlap and Hannah's disappearance, the police are finally led to a man who will stop at nothing. Little by little, the pieces of the puzzle come together to form an overall picture that does not leave even the most experienced investigators cold. Could it be that they have stumbled upon a serial killer by chance? Hannah Graham was born on February 25, 1996 in Reading, a town in Berkshire in England. At the age of 5, she moved with her parents to Virginia, where she grew up. After graduating from high school, she began studying at the University of Virginia with the aim of pursuing a career in healthcare. But it was not to be. Hannah disappeared on September 13, 2014 after a party in Charlottesville. The 18-year-old was at the party with friends. At 12:45 a.m. AT, however, she set off alone to another party. At around 1:20 a.m., she texts her friends to say she's lost. Unbeknownst to Hannah, surveillance cameras record her being followed. Witnesses still at the Tempo restaurant see Hannah, who is obviously drunk, standing next to a man with his arm around her. Another witness sees the two shortly thereafter outside. He notices the man standing next to Hannah because, in his opinion, he did not look friendly. Another witness sees Hannah and the man shortly thereafter at his car, an orange-colored 1998 Chrysler Sebring. She hears Hannah say, "I'm not getting into this car with you." She says Hannah's voice sounded very frightened. The woman then hears nothing more and sees the two no more, which is why she goes on. When she passes the spot 2 minutes later, she can no longer see anyone. That should have been the last time that someone saw Hannah Graham alive. Through the many witness reports, it takes only a week before the police locate the man in whose company Hannah was seen. The man in question is 32-year-old Jesse Leroy Matthew Jr. Friends of his reported that he had been behaving strangely in the days following Hannah's disappearance. He had suddenly stopped leaving the house and was not answering his phone. According to his own statement, this was due to a toothache and a swollen jaw. During this time, he was also regularly late for work and told his colleagues that he was not feeling well. That is why the police are investigating his apartment. They find Hannah's cell phone, which has been switched off since September 13th. And they can detect her DNA in Jesse's car. Jesse, who traveled from Virginia to Texas, is arrested in Galveston on September 24, 2014. He was camping on a beach where he was recognized by passers-by. 5 weeks after Hannah's disappearance, her remains are found on an empty property. Her nose is broken. She appears to have been beaten and then strangled. Jesse's DNA provides clear evidence of his involvement in Hannah's murder. During their investigations, however, the investigators noticed something. Jesse's DNA has not been in the police database before. But now that they have it, it turns out that his DNA matches that of 2 previously unsolved crimes. On the night of October 17, 2009, 20-year-old Morgan Dana Harrington disappeared. She was also last seen in Charlottesville. She was attending a Metallica concert at John Paul Jones Arena near the university with 3 friends. She left the hall at the beginning of the concert to use the bathroom. When she didn't return, her friends called her. Morgan tells them that she won't be let back in because once you leave the hall, you can't get back in. Morgan assures her friends that she will make it home alone and encourages them to enjoy the concert without her. At 9:30 p.m., She's seen talking to a man on a nearby bridge. After that, she disappears without a trace. A sketch of the man is created, but he cannot be found. Morgan's handbag and cell phone are found the next morning at the university sports field. More than 1,600 volunteers search the entire area for her without success. It is not until November 11th, almost a month after her disappearance, that new information comes to light. Police are called to an apartment building about 2 kilometers from the scene of her disappearance. There they find a bloody shirt belonging to the band Pantera. It is identical to the one Morgan was wearing when she disappeared. The blood on it can also be assigned to her. On the morning of January 26, 2010, a farmer finds her remains on a remote part of his farm. The location is 15 kilometers from the concert hall and 8 kilometers from where Hannah's remains were found 4.5 years later. Details of Morgan's death were not made public. However, her parents later testified that it was a very brutal murder. Her bones were broken and male DNA was found in her body. And this DNA can be traced back in the database to another case that occurred 4 years earlier. On September 24, 2005, in Fairfax, Virginia, at approximately 8:30 p.m., a woman, referred to in most sources only as RG, was attacked. She was returning home from shopping when she was grabbed from behind on her stairs and attacked. The man pulled her to the grassy area next to her apartment, beat her, slammed her head on the ground repeatedly, and then began to choke her. When she struggles, he abuses her, saying, "I'll kill you if you scream again. Let me do it and I'll let you go." The woman eventually passes out, and when she comes to, the man is gone. She goes to the police and is examined. The DNA on her cannot be assigned to anyone at the time. It is only after Hannah's death that we know that the same perpetrator was responsible for all 3 crimes: Jesse Matthew Jr. It was only through Hannah's death and the associated investigation that he was convicted, and the 2 crimes from the past were solved. In October 2014, Jesse was charged with the crime against RG, and in February 2015 with the murders of Hannah and Morgan. In May 2015, it was announced that he might face the death penalty. On October 2, 2015, he was sentenced to 3 consecutive life sentences for the crime against RG. Initially, he pleaded not guilty, but later confessed to the crime. 6 months later, on March 2, 2016, he was sentenced to 4 consecutive life sentences without the chance of parole for the kidnapping and murder of Hannah and Morgan. He thus avoided the death penalty. Hannah's father said that his daughter had big plans for the future and that Matthew had mercilessly cut her life short. His evil robbed the world of great talent, but Hannah's lasting gift to us all is that she allowed that evil man to be caught and convicted. She changed the world, but at a terrible cost. Due to the extremely violent nature of his crimes, it is highly unlikely that he did not commit other crimes in the years between the known acts. Therefore, it is suspected that he may be responsible for even more murders and violent crimes that have not yet been proven against him. In the early 2000s, Jesse left 2 universities after being accused of assaulting fellow female students at both. However, the crimes were never proven against him. Nevertheless, there are many unsolved missing persons cases near the 2 universities that may be related to him. On August 29, 2002, 20-year-old Letitia Brooks disappeared from Farmville, Virginia, and remains missing to this day. The city is only 40 minutes from Lynchburg, where Jesse went to college at the time. 6 months later, 19-year-old Julie Fraser disappeared after visiting a bar in Norfolk, Virginia. At the time, Jesse was attending Christopher Newport University, which was only 30 minutes away. On July 24, 2003, Autumn Day disappeared after going shopping 3 kilometers from Jesse's university. Less than 2 months later, 31-year-old Sophie Rivera disappeared after leaving her apartment, which was only 10 kilometers from Jesse's university. A month later, Jesse changed universities because he was accused of further assaults there as well. And on August 14, 2005, 18-year-old Shelley Carson disappeared on her way to a 7-Eleven. Her body was later found in Virginia Beach. She was so badly mutilated that her parents could only identify her by the shoes she was wearing. Cassandra Morton went missing on October 10, 2009 in Lynchburg, a week before Morgan's disappearance. On November 30th, her body was found in a dug-up grave under a pile of rocks. Her head was several yards away. With the exception of the cases of Shelley and Cassandra, all the other young women remain missing to this day. It is unclear whether Jesse Matthew is responsible for these crimes. What is known is that all the women disappeared in close proximity to Jesse's university or his apartment. In spring 2019, Jesse announced in an interview that he was suffering from advanced bowel cancer. When asked if he regretted his actions, he replied that he did not know if he could answer the question honestly. Hannah's parents have set up a memorial page for their daughter and do not want her to be forgotten. Even though her death led to the conviction of Jesse Matthew, no one can take away the pain of their daughter's absence. And that brings us to the end of today's video. Even though Hannah's death is horrific and I wish she had never met Jesse, it may be that her death and Jesse's arrest have saved the lives of many other women. Jesse will spend the rest of his life in prison and will never be able to harm anyone again. What do you think of this case? Do you think Jesse is responsible for the disappearance of the other women as well? Or is it just a coincidence that all the women close to him have disappeared? I hope that all these cases can be solved at some point and that the families of the victims can finally be sure of their fate. If you liked the video, I would be happy to see a thumbs up and a comment. That way, we can trick YouTube's algorithm a bit and the video will be suggested to people who haven't subscribed to Insolito yet. Thanks a lot in advance for your support. Thank you for watching and have a good morning, afternoon, or evening, depending on when you watch the video. See you in the next video. Ciao, guys.